What's up, everyone? I am here with Karina today, and we are going to really get into some astrology, and I cannot wait. Why don't you say hello and introduce yourself first?
Hi, my name is Karina. I am your lucid living coach. That's what I call myself. I'm a transformational intuitive life coach that uses astrology as a tool and numbers, and there's always growth and learning. And yeah, that's what's so beautiful about astrology is the learning and the evolution never ends because we're always finding out new information as things are flying through the galaxy.
Yeah.
And I'm here with Joey for the full moon
That's right.
on Halloween. Okay, Halloween's tomorrow. But this is the full moon at 8 degrees on Uranus at 8 degrees, like completely conjunct.
So for me, I'm just getting into astrology, so I know a little bit about it. I don't know it like you do, obviously. So for people who are just getting into that, what does something like that mean?
Okay, so the moon cycles are important because the moon is, as a full moon, it's a completion. It's a culmination of energy. It's a rising, right? And then you have after the full moon, like tomorrow, the full moon will be exact, meaning it'll be at its fullest around 7 a.m. And then it will wane. So I could just get out like this to get the exact time. I love this thing. And the exact time is 7:49 a.m. It's the blue moon on Halloween. And then it will start to wane, which is the waning gibbous. And that's when the energy has completed its cycle and it's descending. It's mutable energy. It's like, okay, it's ending and it's starting anew next time. So next time, so what's the new? The new will be the new moon in Scorpio on the 14th.
Okay.
So if you pull up your chart, you can pull up your chart on astro.com. You use some other ones and see where Taurus is out of the 12 houses and see where that completion or something was highlighted or something was revealed to you. Because the moon being conjunct Uranus doesn't happen very often, okay? This is like huge. I mean, it's 8 degrees, 8 degrees. Like they're on top of each other. And Uranus is the planet that is the ruler of Aquarius. Now, Uranus as a planet is the awakener. It's like sudden change. It's a part of the nervous system, I'd say. Like, you know, you can get a little anxious. Like I was feeling a little bit ago. Like it's like it messes with that. I think I spoke about it in my video.
Oh, like indoctrinating.
Yeah, that one.
Right. And that's, yes.
Like
That planet rules the nervous system.
yeah, I think so. I think that's what that one rules. Like accidents too, or lightning. You know, it's like sometimes you just don't even know it's coming, or even like earthquakes. That's why I was kept thinking earthquakes because it's the full moon in Taurus in an Earth sign conjunct Uranus. But when I looked into the chart for the next full moon in November 30th, it's the partial lunar eclipse in Gemini on the like in that nodes, because we're in the north node of Gemini right now, and it's conjunct the United States natal Uranus. So the next these next two full moon cycles are about Uranus, and so I thought that was interesting, and to me that might be the big earthquake. I think like more of the earthquake energy for the United States, like somewhere in the United States. But you know, predictions are predictions, right? Just like the weather, they have their predictions. Every single meteorologist, I'm sure, has a different approach and a different but pretty much all along the same. And it depends on where that meteorologist is. With astrology, it's the same way. Most of all of us are astrologists are pretty much on the same wavelength when you look at full moons on YouTube, okay? And you're going through like all the astrologist full moon videos on this. They all pretty much have the same underlying theme. And that is because it's the foundation of astrology. And each astrologer intuitively works with their higher self or their guides or their angels, or like they're drawn to certain things in the chart that they're feeling a calling to speak about. So we're all individuals, when it comes to astrology. But yeah, I feel like I talked a lot. That's what I do.
That's a good thing, no. But if someone's watching this right now, there's a lot of people who just think that like your sun sign is what makes you you. There's right, so that's just so I try
It's a big part of you. It's your personality. Yeah.
Right, but it's not what. So there's many different things in astrology. The way I see it is like each planet represents like a certain kind of energy, right? When you say that's how.
Yeah. You can see it as.
How would you describe astrology to somebody who is just getting into it? How would you put it into words?
Okay, so let's just say, I'm a very big picture type of person, and you're a spirit animal. I'm like your spirit animal. Your son's so cute. But yeah, seeing the higher perspective. And with that, let's just say that, like Joey, what was really big was the DNA testing. Remember, everyone was doing the swabs. They all wanted to know what they are. That's the physical DNA. Okay, when you look into astrology, that's your soul's DNA. Right. So if you really want to know where you come from and who you are on like more of a soul level, you look at the astrology chart. I mean, that's like as broad as I can get, like basic. I feel like let's just say, okay, for a good example, a lot of people have not really believed in astrology because maybe their horoscopes in the newspaper. Okay, remember those, and like magazines are like, oh, they're not true. That doesn't pertain to me. Well, guess what? Y'all are reading it wrong. And the thing is your rising is the predictive aspect. And if you don't know your rising, we can't predict anything.
What does rising represent in astrology?
Rising is the time that you were born. It's the moon's node. So just like a node in like energy and like electrician type work, the node would be the energies where the two meet. That's a node. And so it's the node of the moon when you were born at the exact same time, and it was the rising. It's what was rising. And so like I'm a rising Leo. My sun's in Leo, my Mercury's in Leo, my North Node's in Leo. And for me, all those really pertain to me. Like I'd read a horoscope for Leo and I was like, yes, that's me. That's what's going on with me right now. Yes. It's because my rising's Leo, my sun's Leo. It's all very relevant. Yes. But when you start getting into like, you're a Cancer, but you're a rising Cancer. You are what what I see is what I get. And the same with me. But there's some people that have their sun in like Capricorn and their rising's Cancer. Okay, now this is different. Now you have to get creative when looking at a basic horoscope. You're like, okay, I'm going to read for Cancer, and I'm going to read for Capricorn, and then read for your moon. Those are the three basics you should be reading for. And see, yeah, if you look at these three, you could even look at it in a way of your houses. So knowing your houses is really important.
What is a house? For the person who knows nothing about astrology,
okay.
What is a house?
A house?
That's a very basic question.
Okay, no, the house is, okay, so there's 12 houses, like there's 12 signs of the zodiac. And the first house is Aries, right? Because it's spring, it's the first sign of the zodiac. So naturally, that's Aries' house. doesn't mean that Aries is going to live in that house in each individual.
Doesn't each house represent like some kind of challenge or something, or like
Houses represent different areas of life.
areas of life?
Yeah. So just like really, if you were to just look along the zodiac ecliptic, like the 12 major ones, I think there's actually 88. I think we're only looking at 12. And in Eastern astrology, they're actually looking at 13. And in my research, I think we have 14 because I feel like everything has an opposite, maybe even 15. I don't know. But as we research and as we learn more, we can start contributing. I kind of see it as like a circle, right? But then it's not a circle. It's like a spiral, right? Kind of like the double helix in DNA.
Oh.
I see it like that. And so I think just looking at the 12 or 13 that's already there is kind of basic.
Oh.
You know, I feel like there's a lot more we should already be delving into, you know, but that's how I've seen it in my research because I've dug really, really deep.
Yeah.
And
how long have you been doing this?
All my life, but full time since 2013.
So
yeah,
7 years.
Yeah, a good 7 years.
Yeah.
Here, I want you to have it too.
That's a great amount of time. I am just like in the beginning stages of my awakening, so I'm just getting.
I love this shirt.
Thank you.
Really
thank you. I just feel like it's too small.
No, it's not.
Thanks. I just feel like I know that astrology plays a part in everything, like literally everything. So I'm really trying to learn it and like speak about it all the time in my videos and just kind of remind people to kind of understand it before you just dismiss it and discredit it, you know?
I think it's really important. I think a lot of people get, they have a misperception of what astrology is because they've never looked deeper into it. And I also feel like even religion has put a really negative blanket on it. But along with me and quite a few other astrologers that I've worked under, they're Christian. And, you know, we've been raised Christian. And I think it's just getting to know God on another level, on more of like a personal level than a dogmatic, rule-based level of like, okay, do not kill, still, do not, you know, be frivolous with people's hearts, you know, all this stuff. But it's like, instead of being just told, you're learning why you don't. And to me, that's core. That's core. Like, if you know why not to do these certain things, then you don't have to tell someone not to do it because they'll already deep inside know. You know? Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about like astrology. Because
we're in a simulation. We're humans. We're having a human experience, right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna have a human sippy whippy of this
wine. Yes. We are most likely aliens having a human experience, and we are in the simulation, and it feels real as fuck. It feels so real. Like I really feel like I'm sitting in a Joseph avatar, but I know that there's like a higher self or something else. I just feel it, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but I just feel like astrology has to do like it all begins with astrology. It all begins with the stars, the planets, all that. And I was never really, I never really cared or noticed about that stuff until I started to connect more with God and like, I guess myself. So
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think that everyone should know their birth chart. So
yeah, their soul's DNA. Why do the swab?
Your soul's DNA, exactly. Your soul's DNA. That's the coolest part. Important. Yeah.
Because when I started diving into that, then I started like getting visions in my dreams of like, you know, where I'm galactically from.
Where are you from?
I'm Assyrian and Lyran. Yeah, so I am definitely here to show unconditional love to humanity.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, that's a pretty great mission. Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I had that. I feel like I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out. I know that I'm a star seed and that
Yeah.
my soul does not originate from this planet. I'm just here to help this planet in some way.
Yeah.
I think that. Well, I know what I am. I'm Hadarian, so I don't know if you know what that is.
I like your bracelet.
Thank you.
Get that. Someone really nice gave it to me.
Someone awesome gave it to me. Yes.
Aw.
I appreciate it.
Like, I feel like I gave you some small beads.
Did.
There.
Yeah.
But,
All right. So.
yeah, houses. We were talking about the houses.
So houses. So different house represents a different aspect of life. Like, what's your first house represent? Like, what does that mean?
Aries. The houses are where each pertains to each sign of the zodiac. So let's say if you were born with a rising Aries, you got it. You got it happening. Aries is in its house of Aries. You know, the first house, the second house is Taurus, the third house is Gemini, the fourth house is Cancer, the fifth house is Leo, the sixth house is Virgo, the seventh house is Libra, the eighth house is Scorpio, the ninth house is Sagittarius, the 10th house is Capricorn, the 11th house is Aquarius, and the 12th house is Pisces.
Right.
Now, the signs of the zodiac all have a certain characteristics. Each house has certain very similar characteristics, but it's the way that that energy is expressing itself, you know? So your first house is Cancer. So first house is it represents your self-awareness.
Okay.
It's your it's how you see you.
Your first house is how I see myself. Oh.
And how others see you as well. It's a part of your mask.
So it's in Cancer. So being a Cancer, other people see me as just like sensitive and sweet and moody,
Family oriented,
and super moody.
Man,
very moody. Okay,
But it's your self-awareness too, and that ruler of that house would be the moon. So people might see you change personalities a lot because the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So it's like, oh yeah, he was so sweet that one day, and then that other day he was a totally different person. I'm not quite sure if I know him.
Oh my. Okay, I have been called bipolar. I have been called bipolar.
So yeah, that's your rising.
So I can blame astrology for me being moody.
No.
Oh.
You can never blame astrology. Astrology is a tool to help you be self-aware so you can perfect yourself.
That is amazing right there. Those are amazing words. And I was only joking. I would never use astrology I'd take the blame for all the bullshit I've done. Yeah. Cool. Houses. No excuses. Well, but it led me here at this very moment in time. So I just feel like divine timing. This is all divine timing.
Yeah, I agree. This is the full moon of the awakening. Humanity has been going through a huge awakening in the year 2020, and it started with the corona. How we're all connected, we're all one, and we're all going through the same stuff.
We definitely are, and I think that the coronavirus. Corona means crown, so crown chakra. Mm-hmm. So we're going through the crown chakra virus collectively.
Right. Yeah, the awakening.
But that's what it is, right?
To your higher self.
Yeah. Yeah. To your higher self, right?
Because a lot of people were put out of work, right? So they had time to sit at home and reflect.
Self-reflect.
And when you're alone and you're bored, you naturally think about life, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's why I love to camp.
Oh yeah, under the stars. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of thinking about life, and I feel like astrology has helped me heal myself too. Do you think astrology can help you heal?
Absolutely. I also loved pulling people in my life's chart, like my parents' chart or my grandparents' chart. You can understand them better, get to know them better on a level that you wouldn't know. It's like looking at your parents objectively and be like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. Now you're coming to, I've gotten to know this soul and what they're here to do and evolve and grow from. And you can see like the bigger picture instead of just picking at the small little details of what they did and didn't do. Right.
Yeah.
So it really helped me heal with my relationship with my parents and even the relationships from my past.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I could look up, my past boyfriend's charts and I could see exactly what I was in their life and what they were in my life and why it didn't work or, yeah. So now I'm not one to date unless I look up your birth chart.
That is some serious stalker status right there. No, it's cool because some people are just not, some energies just don't vibe with your energy, right? Yeah. Some people just don't vibe. You just don't vibe. Like, you just don't vibe with certain people. Yeah. So it is important. You really can tell if somebody is right for you or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you know what you want.
Oh, that's a good point too.
Look, if you know what you want and you're looking for certain qualities in someone, or you want a long-term distance relationship or a long-term marriage or something like that, then yeah, you got to look at your chart's compatibility with that other person. Make sure that they're on the same path. Why waste time when you could just look up someone's chart and be like, oh, they're actually not learning that in this life. They're actually coming out of that partnership thing, right?
Right.
So you're not going to want to entertain because you're going to find out later down the road that they're not. And the thing is I think a Saturn return has a lot to do with that. So if you marry after the Saturn return, you're more likely that it'll stay. So your Saturn return's usually around 28. So people that get married before 28, it's a hit and miss because people start awakening to their true purpose and destiny at their Saturn return. They're like put on their purpose and they change, and
Well, this is the first that I've ever heard of like a Saturn return. So what does that exactly mean? Like, what does a Saturn return mean? This is new to me. I don't know what that means.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, no. Okay. So let's just say two things in astrology that, people that don't really know a whole lot about astrology know, and that's Mercury retrograde because it pretty much fucks everything up, right. And Saturn return because it also fucks things up. That's if you haven't done the work. Now, not everyone it fucks people up. Saturn is the planet of karma, and and pretty much Saturn returns home for its birthday when you were born. So just like our sun returns home once a year,
right,
and our moon returns home once a month, that's a lunar return. The Saturn returns to between like 28 and 30.
And that's your karma.
That's your karma planet. So let's say if you've been working hard towards something and then your Saturn return comes up, most likely things will start aligning for you.
No way. So
yeah. If you weren't,
and you're doing the opposite,
then
you're gonna get that karma.
Yeah, you're gonna get that karma. That karma will come bite you in the ass.
That explains all the suffering after my divorce. I get it. Yeah, that was my karma. I knew it was my karma. I just know. I'm an old soul. I just figure things out. But I knew that was my karma. So, how often does that happen though? I mean, just one time in your life or no?
No. So it actually happens 2, and if you're lucky, 3 times.
3 times in your life.
That's if you live like 100 and something, but yeah, so pretty much just 2. So that, and then around 58 to like 60.
Oh, okay, so the first one is in your late 20s.
Yes, your late 20s, and that's like putting you pretty much on your path, like what your 10th house is probably going to project, like your legacy in the world, your career, whatever you've been working really hard on, what you want to leave. Now, when 58 to 60 comes around, that question's being re-looked at. Did I satisfy that karma? Did I leave a mark? on the world like I wanted to leave. There's like a sense of damn Mercury.
I know.
I just blame Mercury.
Me too.
God, life is short, and what have I accomplished? Okay, 50, 58, 60, you're thinking, have I done everything that I really wanted to accomplish? Did I do that career, or am I that person? Did I write that book? Did I make my mark? And that's like your second Saturn return. And you either say yes and decide to retire, or enjoy the rest of your life. You know what? I'm going to enjoy the rest of my life. I'm going to go fly and live on an island. Or are you scurrying and rushing and pedal to the metal, working to make sure that you fulfill your legacy before you leave?
Wow.
Okay. So it could either go either way for your second Saturn return. And in knowing that, it helps us prepare. Like, I've already been preparing. I don't even want to say my age, but I just turned 40, and I like launched my first co-author status in the book, Break Free to Stand in Your Power. So that was like, I already know that that's off. Now I'm on my second that's being launched next year. And I flew in a hot air balloon last year. I mean, that was a part of my bucket list.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was scary, but I survived, and I'm here to talk about it today.
I want to do that.
Yeah, you should. I did it in New Mexico.
I was supposed to do it with when I was
Last October.
with my ex-wife, and the weather was terrible, so we weren't able to go up. So we never did it. But I was gonna do it.
I just made it just in time, and I study like the sun and the geomagnetic storms. I knew it was okay. So I float in that balloon, that hot air balloon, on October 3rd last year. This was while Pluto was stationary direct. It was like a death wish. I'm like, am I going to die today? I don't know. And plus there was a geomagnetic storm, but I knew that it wasn't going to come through until that evening. And it did. There was like a hot air balloon the next day that got wind blown and it caught on fire.
Hey,
yeah.
From the same location?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. But I was watching it, and I bought mine early. And because I bought mine early, it was cheaper. Because everyone wants to float during the hot air balloon festival, and they jack up the prices. Well, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this like on Pluto stationary. Direct.
What does that mean? Like,
Pluto's the planet of the underworld. It's the planet of death and rebirth. So I was like, oh God, it's so close to Earth. Like, am I going to die? Like, but it was my papa's birthday, and that was significant. And my dog had just passed, and I had his ashes on me. And where we landed, I put a little bit because I found where we landed, there was literally a little tombstone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I put some crystals down and sprinkled some of his ashes right there in New Mexico. And I'd landed. Yeah. We almost landed, and then the pilot got scared. And he was like, oh no. And we had to go back up. We almost hit a car. Oh, wow. But no. There was close calls for sure. But I made it, and it's off my bucket list now. And I went by myself.
So Pluto, the planet of apparently death and rebirth.
Yeah.
So
the Phoenix.
Oh my goodness.
Scorpio.
Okay. So they rule Scorpio.
Just think Scorpio when you think Pluto, because that's the ruling planet.
I see.
And Mars, of course. Yeah, Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, but Pluto.
So if Pluto is positioned a certain way in the sky, be careful.
I guess it just depends on where it is in your chart, what's happening. You got to listen to your intuition above all. That's what I say.
Yeah.
It's like you could predict certain weather like that, right? I looked at the geomagnetic storm, the coronal hole facing Earth. I knew that the solar winds were going to come in a few days, and I knew that I was just about to miss it. And I actually, when we landed, we were doing like the champagne toast, and I let everyone know just to tell their friends, whoever was flying that evening or into tomorrow, to be very careful and mindful because of the winds. Because you have to be careful. That's the one thing that can mess up your whole experience in the balloon is the wind factor, right? Like you can't land with heavy wind. Be
No.
floating all the way to Texas.
I think that when certain planets go retrograde, it's like almost like it's like pop culture where people just say, "Oh, Mercury is in retrograde," and they don't really fully understand what that means. Though it's just like a pop culture thing, and people do like it's just something that people say without fully getting it. So
Mercury retrograde.
right,
Yeah,
so,
people know that one because it happens 3 times a year, and things just start just going haywire.
Mercury is the ruling planet of like communication and travel.
Communication, yeah.
Just communication.
Yeah, communication.
Not-
Travel would be the opposite. That's Jupiter.
Oh. So, okay.
Like Sagittarius is opposite from Gemini. So like,
I see what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
it is a part of travel because of communication,
Right.
right? So like driving would be you have to communicate with other people on the road. Flying, you have to communicate.
So when that planet is going backwards, you're probably going to experience miscommunication or something like a flat tire or something within the travel.
Yeah. Usually something glitchy happens.
Something glitchy.
So before Mercury retrograde, I always check everything. Like check my tires, get my oil changed.
Oh. That's a good idea.
It's kind of like because really predictions are just to predict, prepare, and mitigate. Is that the word?
I think that preparing is the best word to use because I know that if certain like I feel like Mercury in retrograde is a certain challenge for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know a certain challenge in life is coming up, I can prepare and be a little bit more patient. I know with Mars being in retrograde, like I'm super impatient. Do you feel that way? And I'm an Aries, so can you explain why an Aries would maybe feel
Aries moon.
an Aries moon? So explain what that would mean to somebody who doesn't get it, and why an Aries moon would be a hothead.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So Aries moons, they see the world in more of a passionate way. So they're very driven because that's Aries, and the ruler of that planet's Mars. So it depends on where your Mars is placed. Yeah, you're very impulsive. You're very impatient. These are the shadow things. Like you want things right away, but you guys are healers. You guys are definitely help people out of tough muds.
Oh, really?
You know, because you have that drive and that ambition and that passion. So I mean, there's always going to be shadow aspects to a chart, but usually, yeah. So usually when like your ruling planet is retrograde, is meaning that you're going inward.
Oh, okay.
So you're going more inward on like your emotions. Like you're going inward. You're not trying to express much emotion. You're more like, okay, you're containing it. Because that's the moon would be like more of your emotions. Like you're containing more, self-containing. And someone that would usually be very outspoken and aggressive and assertive is going to be more withdrawn. And then those that are more withdrawn when Mars goes retrograde might be a little more risque and more outspoken.
Explain the difference of a sign, like say your sun in Aries as opposed to your moon in Aries. Like what is the difference between those two?
So your sun is your personality and your moon is your emotion, and it's like how you see the world.
How I see the world. So
yeah.
I see the world as an Aries.
And so, like, my moon is in Virgo, and Virgo is the Virgin. It's the mother of the zodiac, and she nurtures and cares. But because I see the world as being, I see everyone's brokenness, I just want to go and help and fix everything and everyone. And so Virgo's also very detailed and organized, and they see the world as so I see things in bullet points and categories, and it's interesting the way that that moon really works, because when I started getting to know it, then I felt like I started to get to know myself.
Right.
Because all my life I've been told, because people are seeing the Leo, that I'm a drama queen, or I am I'm outgoing,
Yeah.
and I'm dramatic and theatrical, and I'm too much, and like I'm talkative and a leader, and like all these things. But like my moon, and I'm like, I'm not saying I don't feel like this,
Oh, wow.
because I'm a Virgo moon. So it's like I see the world and myself as being like a nurturer and a healer and a helper, and I like to organize and clean and do like little tasks that people don't like to do, like
Right.
clean the house, go grocery shopping, like organizing. Like I think for a little bit I was working for I think it was Kelly Services when I was younger, and I would get these jobs like putting like labels and stamps on envelopes and then stuffing the envelopes with the letters, and I loved it. I was like, wow, this is so much fun.
Because you guys have OCD.
Yeah.
My son has OCD, and he has to watch like a YouTube video. He has to complete it before we can do something. Like he has to finish the videos. Is that a Virgo thing?
Probably.
It's weird.
Wonder what his moon is.
I think Taurus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he likes the fun things in life.
Because he's a little bougie at times.
Bougie.
Yeah.
That's it. Bougie.
So our moon sign is just as important as our sun sign. If not, I mean, it's
more
more.
important.
Wow.
Well, I think that people
More. That's a statement right there.
because pretty much that you won't know someone's moon unless you know them, right? So it's like a stranger is going to see your rising and your sun, and maybe your midheaven, like your career, your work in the world.
So that's what midheaven is.
That's the 10th house cusp. So that's your what. Also, it could also be your internet presence, right? It's your legacy, it's your career.
Oh,
people
really?
see this, okay? What people don't see is your moon, your 4th house, which is your IC. This is how you are at home, because you're opposite, right? Have you ever heard of people that are like, oh, I don't know. I was just talking about this not too long ago, but people that are like bosses and like corporate hard workers, blah blah blah, at home, they're just so submissive. They want like someone to tell them what to do, and even in bed, right? So it's kind of like the same thing, because your midheaven, what you are in your career, is opposite from what you are at home, because your 4th house is opposite. So these are the cardinal cusps, guys. You have your ascendant, you have your IC, you have your DC, which is your partnership house, and then you have your MC, which is your career. Those are the 4 cardinal cross that's important.
Okay.
Yeah, in astrology.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just learned that just now. That's pretty neat. So for me, I noticed that, especially lately, you can't help but notice politics. I mean, I guess you can put it to the side, and I don't know. I know that Mars is the ruling planet for Aries, right? So Mars is the planet of like aggression and war. So I do see the world through Mars. You know what I mean? Like I see the world. I focus on the war.
The masculine energy, maybe.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Maybe you see the aggression or the anger in people, or the passion. Maybe even the passion too.
I just think that I focus too much on, like, I don't know, maybe the war stuff, and as opposed to, because it's whatever you think, right? Your thoughts create your reality. Yeah. So how does an Aries moon like get past viewing the world through like the eyes of Mars?
Well, you just look at your opposite. So the opposite would be Libra, looking and connecting with others, building partnerships like this.
Oh yeah.
See?
I do.
We're getting together and we're tackling this together.
Right.
And then you're seeing that it's more harmonious here than it is out there.
Right.
Yeah, because like it starts on the opposite to make the change.
It starts on the opposite to make the change. No, it does make sense. It starts on the opposite to make the change.
It starts here.
Right.
It starts here.
Yeah. It does
If you
start.
want to make change in the world, you have to make it within your own life.
You absolutely have to.
Yeah.
You have to be the change you want to see in the world.
There
and
you go. That's the saying.
It's so cliche. It's a Gandhi saying, but it's so fucking true.
So true.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be the change, because I just feel like everyone's so busy worrying about everybody else and what they do, as opposed to like self-reflecting and like just worrying about themselves. Okay, what else, Miss Astrologer?
I'll ask you questions now.
Can I pour in the glass of wine, or is that not allowed? Wow. Yeah. Can I or no? I can wait. You're really fast. I'm still on my first. That's unfortunate. It's a smaller glass. No, it's not. It's just chunkier. Shorter. Go get some more. All right.
Well, just don't drink mine.
I would never.
Don't drink my bougie wine, because my moon and my Jupiter is in my second house, so I'm very Taurian.
So what? Explain that. So,
Well, I live in the Taurus house, honey.
So explain what that means.
But I'm a Virgo. But my Virgo lies in Taurus's house. So it's like having a clean freak, organizer, healer in a luxurious mansion of Taurus.
Because your Virgo is in the fourth house.
No, second house.
Second house.
Yeah.
That's why you are the way that you are.
I like nice things. I'm a little bougie. I'm not name brand. Okay, that would be Taurus, right? I don't care. I don't care about.
That makes sense.
I don't care about, like, that's a Coach bag, but that was a gift from a client. Okay, so like name brands, I love thrift stores. I love things different. That's my Leo. Like, I don't want the mainstream stuff. I want funky dunky, cool, like different stuff that no one has, right? But when it comes to my food and what I intake into my body, because I don't know, maybe it's because it's sixth house, like Virgo is your daily routines and health and work habits.
That's the sixth house.
So like whatever I ingest is bougie. So like from wine to food to like supplements, I always get the best. Like all my money goes on like what I intake. I have so many tinctures and vitamins and probiotics and like you name it, I've got it. You know, collagen to glucosamine to like aloe vera juice and maca, cacao, like whatever. I spend so much money on supplements and like things to make my body happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's because my Virgo is in the house of Taurus. Like, isn't that crazy? I just thought about that right now because I'm not name brand.
Well, I'm not either.
But I am name brand when it comes to like what I ingest.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you got your wine.
Yes. Cheers.
Let's do a sippy whippy.
Sippy whippy?
Okay.
Cheers. Delicious sippy whippy.
Mm-hmm.
What else was I going to ask?
I wanted to ask you some.
Ask me.
Yeah, so what, I don't know if your following knows what you did. What's your story? Like when your awakening began? What were you doing before? What was your aha moment, the turning point where you're like, I want to do this now? Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
It started when I did, for being completely honest, LSD. And from there, I just looked at life differently. It was weird.
And what year was that?
That was 4 or 5 years ago. So 2015-ish, 16.
And when did you quit your job?
I quit my job about a year and a half ago. Last July. Why did I quit my job? I just knew that I had a bigger purpose in life. I knew that what Wall Street kind of stands for is just not what I'm about. It just didn't feel right with my soul. I just felt like I didn't. I don't get me wrong. I was sent there for a reason, but
sure. Absolutely.
It just didn't resonate with me anymore. Yeah,
you had just
and my mental health was like really, really going to shit. I mean, I was waking up at like 4:30 every morning, and the stock market is a crazy business. Yeah. It's very intense. It's very stressful. So I think for me, I really just wanted to focus on regaining my mental health because it was gone by then, and then getting more time with Gio, because working that job, you get no time, and by the time, because it's so fucking stressful, and then you have to be there so early, so by the time you're off, you're just mentally and physically drained that you don't want to go home and really have to deal with much.
Sure.
Especially trying to do.
It's an energy vampire, it sounds like.
Yes.
And with your moon being in Aries in your 10th house, I mean, that was just right along your lines of work. Like, intense.
So intense.
Fast.
So fast.
Crazy.
Just
crazy.
Crazy. What a crazy lifestyle to be in. And I just needed a fucking break. And that's why I quit. I miss my coworkers, but I did what I had to do for myself.
And what are you doing now?
Now I'm just taking it easy and drinking wine, but I quit my job to start a video production business, and I took a year off to just give myself a rest because I really worked hard for the last 20 years. I mean, really hustled. And mentally, just doing the things that I did was, I really, it was hard. So
sometimes most of the work can be done when you're resting.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy how much work can get done.
Well, yes, because I self-reflected and I did the inside work, and I realized why I acted the way that I acted in certain areas of my life, and so a lot the last year. I mean, from a career standpoint, I quit my job to do video production. I don't have much to show because the last year I took that time to get my mental health back and just to self-reflect.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Rest, meditate, and manifest.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
The best you could do.
Yeah. A lot of manifesting. Yeah. Because now I get how to manifest, and like I get that your thoughts create your reality. And so whatever it is you're thinking, it's going to project.
I just got tired.
How are you feeling? She had energy work today.
Yes, and if anyone wants energy work and they're in the Bay Area, my boy Emilio from Peru does an amazing job. He uses everything. He's way past a Reiki practitioner master. He does everything.
You said Reiki on steroids.
Yeah, on steroids.
For people who don't know what Reiki is, can you kind of explain that what that is real quick? Because we all have 7 chakras within
our body. But I mean, it's all just really energy work, working with your vortexes, I guess, your energy vortexes, and shifting, and it's a lot more. I mean, he comes from a line of healers in Peru.
Okay, so I think we covered a lot in our very first episode.
For sure.
And that, I mean, we did cover a lot, but there's still so much more to it than people realize. It's not just your sun sign. First, if you're watching this and you want to know more about yourself, look into your sun, moon, and rising. Look into your birth chart, right?
Yeah, that's what I do. You can go to lucidlivingmovement.com. And I'm having a special for $175 for your first basic birth chart reading. Oh. And I'll just go through your chart with you and do a little video personalized for you. And if you want to continue on the journey, I do coaching, life coaching. Yeah, with your chart.
With your chart, and you do have a birth chart. You have a birth chart. It is your soul DNA. Is that what you said?
Yeah, see?
You have a soul DNA. So lucidliving.com, lucidlivingmovement.com, lucidlivingmovement.com.
We're going to start doing more videos, I hope.
This is the first of many.
I'm going to try to get him to do some improv tonight.
We will do improv.
Yeah, through the signs.
So down. So more to come.
That's Karina, your Lucid Living coach on YouTube.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Peace. That definitely worked. Yes.
Yeah, I need to put on my lips.
I need to put on my lips too because they're very thin. My lips are thin.
You're not recording yet, are you?
It's recording right now. This is raw footage going on YouTube.
What?
Shut
You
up.
put it on your lips. We
I
got
didn't
our,
even put them in.
we got our blankies. Okay, fine, we'll put it. Let's pause it.
How's it? Looking up your chart.